All right. Now I want to talk about business and quotes and leftover materials, right? And what is stealing and what is not when it comes to these areas. Now, I've had work experience in these areas, worked with people, helped out people in these fields. So I know by experience how they roll here in Australia and how things work. Now I want to put some examples. I was doing some scrap work before my life went downhill a little bit as it all added up to that area of why I am now as I lost my license and a few other things. But I want to talk about what is stealing and what is just doing the same thing as it's too much effort to make it legit in certain areas. Like when insurance sells, they sell off stuff, they just get whatever, they're not too fussed, and whatever it is, the other person will make up the money for it, the cost of it, when it comes to insurance and things getting stolen in certain areas and how they cover stuff. There's all sorts of ways. But I want to talk about plumbing, right? And quotes when it comes to getting a quote for an air conditioner in your house and all these things, and plumbing quotes outside for how much plumbing you need. They would rock up and they'll give you a quote, so you roughly know how much it is. And because of these quotes, right, it allows this little loophole, a little problem, as you could call it, as I've talked about areas in the government, how they haven't solved when someone turns up and delivers something late, changes their mind, like with I did with the toolbox, and go, look, I found this toolbox, I should have brought it up straight away. I didn't. I'm doing it now. What can we do about it, right? And they've only got, well, I don't know, or we'll have to put you in this bracket, right? Instead of the right answers, right? And so when it comes to plumbing and quotes and other areas as well, you'll get these quotes, right? And I'm just going to use plumbing as that's the field I've worked in a bit with other people. And they'll rock up to do a quote, the air conditioner, you might need this much length, this many pipes, and all this, and this is what it is. And then a lot of people, definitely a lot of people go, oh yeah, I accept that, no worries, I'm happy to pay that. Then, and you try to make money, everyone's trying to make money, right? It's not as bad as the person that pushes the button, goes on a beach walk, and then scams you and comes back, right? Everyone makes money, right? And there's better ways than others, as you can say, right? On how they try to make that little extra buck. And as long as everyone's happy, they believe that's how you can make an extra buck. Isn't that right, Emma? Yep. As long as they're happy. If they're not, then you might be doing something wrong to make that extra buck. And that's why they had these quotes, right? So what I want to say with these quotes is you go to a house, you quote something, right? If they're underquoted, you can always lift the quote, usually. And sometimes when you say a mention about a quote, depends on your feeling of the person too. In these jobs, you might do more of a discount than others and favours, but everyone wants to make a buck, as I talk about. And so the people go, oh, I don't really like that. You might push it where you might have to show your budget a bit more and what you got to do and all this kind of stuff. And then maybe get paid half later. They might have a whinge about what you got to do. Things like that. You'll get this in these sectors constantly as well when it comes to quotes, right? But a lot of people will like do a quote and go to the jobs, and they get plenty of jobs. So you get 20 jobs, and say you can only do 15 of them. 5 you'll have to knock back. The 5 that whinge would be the ones that get knocked back. The ones that went, yeah, I'm happy with that quote, they'll go for that type of work. You'd more likely want to do that too, wouldn't you, Emma? Yeah. As you can't do them all. So more likely a lot of people don't typically like to whinge if they don't need to, but some are pushy and some need to. So let's get back to the quotes and materials. So what happens is you get all these materials. Most of the time people in the quote, most of the time people won't go over the quote, they're usually within it. You'll even hear car shows where people come in and go, look, I've stuck to the budget, you're right on the budget, you're right? I'll squeeze this, squeeze that. They have these sayings, right? And I made a deal for you, right? That's all part of business, right? Even that they how much if they made 30 grand or 40 grand, right, or 10 grand, they'll say these similar things. It's part of trying to make a buck. And so in these quotes, most of the time there'll be 10% or 20% extra profit there, extra over budget, extra materials, extra things like that. Because you'd rather have, when you definitely if you're driving a long way away, you'd rather have extra materials and you quote that extra material to make sure that they're happy about it than not, right? And over time, so you get these extra materials, you get extra cornering, extra bars, extra plumbing equipment. You didn't quite need this, and you need that much length, you need that many cornering, and you get all these bits of stuff, and they become extras. And people in these businesses will say, "That's good. I can use that extra for the next part," and add into the quote. Don't have to pay for it, so you get those extras become, I guess, a little extra money, but it come free out of nowhere. It depends on how you organise that kind of stuff. And a lot of times you'll see these vans with a lot of these materials just scattered. I used to have to clean them all the time. Was one of my duties was to tidy up vans. And I tell you, it's a mission, but it teaches you how to tidy up things and go from there. I got better and better at it the more I did it. And you have all these bits of tools, and they get dinted, and they don't come quite, brand new again. And so a lot of it just gets sit around, and then you just see them falling out of cars, works lights and shit, bits of crap, right? Because there's so bits of shit sitting around, or they'll throw it into a scrap bin. At the end of the day, a lot of businesses go through it all and scrap it because in the end it was free stuff, and they can still get more of it, and a lot of it they still get benefits of putting it back in. Oh, I need a corner in now. Oh, here's one here to sit in, right? And stuff like that. And so every business does different ways of doing that, right? Scrapping it and recycling it. So when that happens and they get these extra bits, in a way, that's stealing, right? Because when you get the extra quote, you don't often, let me know in comments how many people come back and go, all right, well, $20 off or $150 from that $5,000 quote. Here's $150 cash back. Instead of going, and they said they were happy with the quote, extremely happy in some cases, but you're going to give them, and you're struggling or you don't do as well as them, but you're going to go, oh, I'm just going to decide to give them $150 cash back or $400 cash back. All right, I'm going to run around and find all these bits and go, oh shit, these 7 corners were yours. There was still 3 meters of this. Do you want them back? Most people would want these things too. In a lot of cases, you can even get some stuff to recycle from jobs, replacing things, so that you get the old thing, and you can get bits out of that. So it's another like bonus. Depends on how you want to use it or how you can use it in these areas. And so, what I want to talk about in the end is when I was doing recycling, I cleaned out and helped my brother out a few times because I was just watching a show the other day with a dude that went and handed in recycling bits, right? And they're all brand new, right? And he was cleaning up a certain area and stuff like that. And the guy was worried about if they were stolen. He goes, oh, people bring in stolen all the time. So when you do this, we're going to ask these questions and put you in that bracket. I'm like, serious? And since then, the other day, I've been thinking about it. So I thought I'd just have a chat about those areas and what he's stealing. So in a way, it's not stealing when they're happy about it, is it? But when they're not happy about it, and there's some of the people that's not, then I guess you're stealing doing the same thing, isn't it, Emma? Yeah. Right? So I call it like a loophole stealing, another way of righteous wrong. It depends on who you're wronging, right? In a way, isn't it? People who don't really care, well then it's all right. And then people that goes, well, shit, you're ripping me off, and you quoted this extra and you didn't need it, and I see what you know. Now you're making an extra $200 off the next job, or you save this bit and that, right? On your next, the $200 you might think it's a lot of money, but when it's 10 grand and jobs and stuff like that, materials, it's not that much. It's a little percentage, honestly. Most of the time, you'd only have an extra 10%, 5% materials left than 20% or anything like that. In some cases, it can happen definitely on long jobs. They tend to quote a little bit higher on things just to make sure that they don't get put out. Because the last thing you do, because I've done it before, trying to help out people, like when you go to do a favour for a friend, you're going to put this shit up with this. You try to do the same thing, do a quote, but then you find out you fucked yourself over. Definitely when you're making a deal with a friend and you figure out stuff, and then they do that quote thing to you, where they go, come on, you said that. I don't want to hear about you want to charge more. And you go, shit. We also made a real close deal, and then I found out something else, and this accident happens. Why also quotes, it's good to get that extra money because it adds up on other jobs where you can fix up. But that's the people who are working, you see. But then when you go to the fair, 100% fair, you could say they're stealing, right? People should give money back. A little bit like the insurance. Oh, if you don't get a claim, we'll give you 10% back, right? Business can use that as a business thing to try to get more business, I guess. But it's a little loophole that the government's had there forever. And but we hear things about it. I hear things about it all the time. And so when it comes to those bits, let's chuck on another one. Like I said about my brother cleaning out stuff and stuff like that. He's worked for himself and he's worked for others. So say he cleaned out some bits, right? And in the van, and I did a job for him. So I did a job, and he goes, well, usually that I'll chuck into the recycling bin at work. They probably only get a few bucks, or the recycling bin where they just go recycling. They don't even get no money. You know, the normal metal bin where they come collect metal, and they don't charge you because you're just getting rid of scrap metal. And most of the time, it's not worth anything, but people chuck out stuff all the time in these bins and have this system. So you either do that, right, or you can stock it up yourself over the if you've got enough of them in that business and they put them in a bin, you can go put them in that and get someone else to clean it up, right, and it balances out the pay or not, right, and you only have to pay a little bit extra and get them to clean out your van. Or you have an employee that does it for you, or the person themselves, and if they haven't used all the bits by then, and it's not new and it's all bits and scratched and damaged a little bit like a bar person when they drop a drink, they can't resell it when it gets all scratched up and stuff and damaged a little way. It's not brand new perfection, right? Would they be allowed to recycle it? Because I've seen people do that all the time, right? Before even other people closer in the family started doing similar things. And as far as I'm concerned, it's all legit. No one should worry about nothing that's free, that's there, unless they're money hungry, right, and had a big problem, or they're doing it constantly, like they're taking every little bit that's bonus. Your employee and the business guy's not getting anything, right, and then he's always got to put bits in, and he's not getting that extra little bit of bits that they might get, recycling bits. By recycling secondhand or the brand new bits that have been laying around and banged around a bit. Right? So you let me know in comments what you think about that. It's a thing that people just leave. You can go, well, it's a thing I'll just leave. I wouldn't say there's still an all. If a employee wanted to clean out a van, unless they had strict rules where they had to be cleaned out somewhere else, right, and they do the cleaning. But if they allowed you to do the cleaning, how much they expect you to do, like go through all these bits, you know what I mean? It's best to just leave it, and if they want to do, or they can have a couple of bucks over there on that, and they can tidy up a little bit, you know what I mean? Because you should check out these plumber vans with tools and bits of crap that they end up having in there. As my brother, when I tied it up, helped me out in scrapping, besides the bits he did, with little bits of banged up stuff that they end up not using. So I thought I'd mention that. And so would I be stealing, or my brothers be stealing if we did that? Or wouldn't we? How do you see it? And what type of person are you? Are you a poor person? When you answer, I'm a poor person, and this is how I see it. Or you can go, I'm a person who doesn't worry about money, this is how I see it. Or you can go, I'm a person who's rich, and this is how I see it. And I bet you have different perspectives about that when it comes to that area. But anyway, have a good one, and see you later.